This is the world premiere of the all-new 2022 Subaru WRX. We have all the details right now on Driving Sports TV. For 2022, Subaru has redesigned the WRX from the ground up. The chassis is now based on Subaru's global platform to improve both safety and dynamics. It also gets a dramatically updated interior. The body lines are still unmistakably WRX. They even have the big hood scoop. But it also has new black cladding accents with additional aero enhancements to help mold air around the vehicle. Under the hood is a turbocharged 2.4-liter Boxer engine. This engine first appeared in the Subaru Ascent, followed by the Outback XT. Here, it produces up to 271 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque along a fatter curve compared to the outgoing 2-liter engine. It also has an electronically controlled wastegate and air bypass to improve response. Two transmissions are available. Base models get a revised 6-speed manual. A new trim called the WRX GT gets the new Subaru Performance Transmission as standard, along with the more advanced all-wheel drive system. I'll let Carline manager Michael Reddick explain.
The GT is using our variable torque distribution all-wheel drive system, which is one of our versions of symmetrical all-wheel drive. And this split is a 45-55 split, and it uses a planetary gear set to help us get that power to the rear. And it's changing power constantly based on yaw input, throttle input, steering, just to make sure that the driver has the power going where they need it to go. And we also use active torque vectoring to move the power left and right as well.
The second row looks like it will fit adults just fine. There are also a pair of USB sockets for devices. Now let's take a closer look inside this WRX GT. Looking at this inside, there are definite upgrades, but it still feels like a WRX in the good ways. I mean, anybody who drove the old one will be comfortable here. We get a D-shaped steering wheel, which is adjustable, like that. In the middle, we get an infotainment system that first appeared on the Outback when it was revised a couple years ago. Now, if you don't like the big touchscreen, you can get a lower trim model that actually has a dual screen setup. So you have options. Now, this model is a GT, which means that it has all the good stuff. It has their new high-performance transmission, which will emulate an 8-speed step transmission, but yes, it is a CVT. But Subaru really doesn't want to call it a CVT. They want to get the idea that buyers have of a CVT out of their mind, because this is designed to respond better and work better.
The differences and characteristics found between this model and the CVT found in the outgoing WRX are a gulf apart. It will be very, very noticeable that this is a true automatic option for the WRX.
Now, the GT here is a particularly cool WRX. It's the fact that it has adaptive dampers. That's right, adaptive dampers on a Subaru. If I hit the mode button here, I get my drive mode select, and this lets me control everything from power output to steering to the suspension feel to the all-wheel drive configuration, so you should be able to tune it to your liking. And there's a star button here where you can save your preset so that when you come back into the vehicle, you don't have to hit all the buttons, you just hit the star, boom, you're good to go. EyeSight is, of course, on vehicles that come equipped with the automatic transmission. If you get a manual, you do not get that. The manual ones do have a little sensor up there, but that's actually for the automatic headlights. It's not for EyeSight. EyeSight is still a 2-camera setup. Other safety features on this WRX GT include a backup camera with rear auto braking and parking sonars, adaptive cruise control with lane centering and auto emergency steering. The headlights are dynamic LED projectors with automatic high beams. An 11-speaker Harman Kardon system is optional. There are a variety of seating surfaces available. Base trims get fabric like you see here. The GT gets exclusive power-adjustable Recaros with ultra-suede inserts. And they are pretty comfortable. They bolster nicely. I could see guys even larger than myself fitting pretty well in here. I am 6'1", legs torso proportionate. I weigh about 200 pounds. and I fit pretty darn good. Okay, well, that's our first look at the vehicle. Now let's jump in the car and see how it feels at the track here at Thermal. Running us around the track today will be former F1 driver and Subaru Rallycross champion, Scott Speed. So we're in this 6-speed here. Are you noticing any differences? You've already done a few laps in this car. You notice anything major with the 6-speed versus the old one?
Well, for me, the feeling I get, the torque curve on the engine, even though on paper it doesn't look like there's a big difference, I feel a big difference on, like, in the wild, I guess we'll call it. Like, performance-wise from the acceleration, it's more. And then the other big thing I notice is the stiffness of the chassis. You know, and that stiffness, you know, what that buys you is basically, you know, when you're going through one of these corners, you loading the car transfers the weight to the outside. With this stiffer chassis, you know, it doesn't roll as much. The inside wheels are on the ground harder. It's like it's got more weight on the inside of the car as you're going through a corner, and that's just grip. Especially for a four-wheel drive car where you really want the inside front to drive off the corner so it doesn't understeer.
Right.
You really get that feeling in this car more than the previous generation.
So it's like they've to put it in really simple layman's terms, they've removed some of that understeer that was inherent in the old car.
Well, yes, yes, it is less understeery, but it's mostly grip.
Okay.
So the balance is shifted ever so slightly less understeer, but it being a four-wheel drive car on a track like this, it's inherently going to have a little bit of understeer.
Right.
I feel like these cars have a lot less than anything else. I think that's the big engineering marvel that they've done.
Do you think this would be as much fun in the dirt still?
Well, I think it's an improvement overall.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, it's just an improvement in grip, right? So because it's stiffer, they can run a little softer springs, a little softer suspension, gain that grip without losing the body control.
Right, okay. And then talk about this turbo here. They have a new turbo setup. This is basically the Ascent 2.4 engine that's been reworked for the WRX. They say the torque comes on sooner, does it?
Yes, yeah, I mean, you can feel like, I don't feel like any dead spot in the car, in the RPM band. So, yeah, like right away I have torque, I'm not waiting for it.
Right.
It's super responsive.
How does it feel when you're putting power down? Does it just feel like it's 50-50, or are you feeling a little more push in the back?
I feel like it's close. Like I said, though, the major thing I feel is the platform.
Right.
Because it's not just apples to apples to say that they're 50-50 so they act like that, because if your car's transferring a bunch of weight to the rear, the inside tire's got less weight on it. Now you're changing that percentage dynamically.
Absolutely. Okay.
So, like I said, this car giving you that stable platform, that's gaining you a lot of those benefits of having that, you know, front drive in the car.
Cool. Well, we're going to jump now into the automatic version with the new revised high-performance automatic. So we'll see how that compares to this one.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they have normal, sport, sport plus, individual. What are we going to go in today?
Yeah, we're just going to go Sport Plus.
Okay. It just shifts everything to the right there.
Yeah, effectively. Yeah, so you can go into and change on individual, you can put the things wherever you want. To me, I found that where Sport Plus was is kind of where I liked it naturally.
Okay.
You know?
It's funny, as we get all these like customization options, I too find that like basically it's all to the right or it's all to the left.
I mean, they've spent enough time engineering this thing. I mean, they got it pretty good.
So this uses a new revised transmission. It is based on the CVT, but they really don't want me to call it a CVT. They want me to call it the something performance transmission, which I probably covered earlier in this video.
Well, I mean, did you feel the shift? Like it's really quick, right? I think in the past it's not something you would necessarily talk about with the car, but this is such an improvement. I mean, it shifts a lot faster than I can.
I know that CVTs and Subarus have chain, but you can still sometimes get that throttle curve is a little rubber bandy feeling. How's it feeling for you?
Oh, no, I think that the throttle band is super reactive. I don't have that feeling.
Okay.
So but it's very, like, on my foot, it's very responsive, really. and if I mess up a gear as well, it won't kill me for it. So
right, now it has downshift blipping as well, but do you turn that off or you leave it on?
No, it's on, but like if I don't downshift and come out of here, I mean, it's not near as drastic as if you would miss that shift in a...
Yeah, I am not feeling that rubber bandy feel that I get in the Onyx XT even had a little bit of that when you were on throttle. No, this seems really linear.
Yeah, they did a great job with the torque curve.
So we're in the WRX GT, I think, right now. This is the top-end model, and this one has the adaptive suspension. So how does the suspension in this one feel versus that 6-speed that we just did?
Well, I got it on sport, so I can get it a little stiffer with this.
Yeah, does it feel stiffer than the other car?
Yeah, it's rolling a little bit less still. But that's going to be something you tune, right?
Right.
For the given situation, what would be the best? I honestly feel like it's so hot and slippery out, I'd probably even soften it one just to try to create a little bit more mechanical grip.
Got it.
But it's nice that you have that setting that is max stiffness for maximum grip.
Yeah.
And then obviously when you go on the gravel, you can put it to soft and really exploit the soft suspension.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if this is going to win some people who traditionally bought manuals, but kind of like, not so ready for the automatics, if it'll win them over. Do you think anybody's going to be giving up anything by going to this one versus the stick?
I think it's whether, I think people are passionate about shifting or not shifting.
Yeah.
And I think you're either kind of on one side of that fence or the other.
Yeah, so they may even give up the adaptive suspension just for the feeling of being able to control their own gear.
Yes, that's my thought.
Yeah. Which would you get?
Me, I like this.
Yeah.
Because it gives me the feel that I'm still in control of shifting. I can still decide what RPMs I kind of want to be on.
Right.
But if I am stuck in traffic or I just don't feel like shifting that day, the car does a lot for me. But I think the sound of the blips and how quickly it shifts is a big selling point in this thing.
Yeah, that was really quick.
That's really fast.
I heard a slight little pop in the exhaust there too when you did that. This little poo, poo, poo. Not like your rally car, of course, your rallycross car.
No, it's not quite. That thing's pretty extreme.
Cool. Well, thanks again, Scott. I really appreciate it. I look forward to driving this car in person, hopefully in the next month or so. I think you really answered a lot of questions that we had about it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Hope you had a good time. I mean, it's a great place to be able to drive these cars. Whenever you can take something that's designed to be street legal and take it out on a racetrack, you really get to peel back the layers and see what it's made out of. And these things are incredible cars.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
Yeah, you got it.
This being the world premiere of the new WRX, of course we'll have a more complete review with performance metrics, pricing, and opinions later this year. But for now, our first impression is a good one. If you're into performance tuning, note that there is already a lot of experience wringing more power out of this Subaru 2.4-liter turbo. The aftermarket should have no problem working its magic with this new, more capable vehicle in very short order. Please subscribe and post your thoughts below. What do you think of this new WRX? Were you expecting more? What do you think of the cladding? Let's talk about it. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching.